This afternoon we have three presentations from three different communities that are getting a lot done these days and have a lot to tell us about. Our first community is the community of Mansfield, and we have Marion Mathis here. And by the way, I'm Jerry Smith, and Mark has asked me just to moderate the afternoon session. I'm with Arkansas State University Delta Center for Economic Development, and worked with Mark in the steering committee for a number of years. Marion is the Economic Development Coordinator for the city of Mansfield. He's been doing that 16 years, which was 1 year before that he retired at that time. He was with the USDA Soil Conservation Service and retired and began working with the city of Mansfield. He is married. His wife is here, 2 children, 2 grandchildren. And he's likes to travel. That's kind of what he does for his hobby, and his wife travel. They've hit all 50 states of our great states. And one interesting thing that I found, and by the way, agriculture is his degreed area from the University of Arkansas, is he is a member of the Mansfield Sister Cities International Association, I guess, because there are 35 Mansfields in the world, one of them being Mansfield, Arkansas. Marion Mathis.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'd like to thank Mark for allowing us to come and share some of the things we're doing in Mansfield. Also, our local agent, Dustin Blakey, who assisted with the program, our students from our East program in our school. Where's my clicker? Kind of hard to show slides without a clicker. There we go. Okay. Thank you. Welcome to the city of Mansfield. We're a small community on Highway 71, about 25 miles south of Fort Smith. We call ourselves the gateway to the Poto Mountains, as you can see the beautiful mountains in the background. We're located, as I said, about 25 miles south, right on Highway 71. Now, if you've driven our way, I'm sure you'll probably remember the sawmill there on the highway, and also the U.S. highway that passes through the Good Prairie Cemetery, which we've been told that's the only U.S. highway passes through a cemetery. That may not be much of anything to brag about, but maybe something different. It was established in 1849. A little bit of our history in Mansfield. In the mid-1800s, trading post was established about 1 mile west of where we live now, where Mansfield is located now. The building was located on Highway 96. The logs from this building were preserved by the Hall family and are said to be from the first trading post located there that served the local settlers and the Native Americans from Oklahoma, which is only about 12 miles west of us there. The Hall family preserved these logs and donated the site and the logs to the city of Mansfield, and we've reconstructed the cabin, and it is a memento of our history of the area, and it's something that we like to show off, even though it looks a little bit ragged. Here in Mansfield, we have real good schools. We have a fairly new high school, about 1,000 students. It's right on the highway. If you pass that way, you'll see it. We built ourselves as Mansfield and the Seabiscott area. You know, sometimes adversity will cause a little progress. In 1993, the state of Arkansas wanted to establish a prison, if you will, a correctional facility just south of our area for convicted felons 14 to 17 years old. Needless to say, quite a controversy arose over that. Out of that came several meetings of several communities around, led by our consummate volunteer Deputy Looper, who has gone on. But through his efforts, this organization was formed, met monthly, and resolved the issue of the correctional facilities located there. Now we have about 75 jobs due to that facility, which has turned out to be real good. Mansfield School, we are proud of it academically and also athletically. This is a sign depicting a number of state championships. Our senior girls have, in the last 6 years, won 10 state championships. One in cheerleading competition, one in volleyball, 4 in indoor track, and 4 consecutive in outdoor track. I could say that our girls in high school are fast, but you might get the wrong impression. This is our stadium, along with our high school. This is our present post office. It was moved about a mile west of the old cabin. By the way, some of you may know County Judge Bud Harper from Fort Smith, who also worked for the Arkansas Emergency Management System for a while, I believe. His great-grandfather was the first postmaster in this building. Looking down Main Street, we've been able to utilize grants for a number of things to help our community. One of the first grants we received was one of the old IST grants. You may remember those, where we built sidewalks, put in lamp posts, park benches, and waste receptacles and things of that nature to improve our downtown. Here's another business in town. Our bank, we have the Allied Bank of Mansfield, which I think was established in 1904, so it's over 100 years old. For a small town, we're proud of the 3 banks that we have. Farmers is, of course, from Greenwood, and fairly recently, in the last few years, they established a bank in Mansfield. One of the things we like about this bank, it took the corner lot, which had about a 100-year-old service station that was quite of an eyesore. We prevailed on them to establish the bank on this corner rather than going down to Highway 71, so it remained in town. Of course, this is our Chambers Bank, and you're all familiar with Johnny Chambers and his brother-in-law, who owns the Cowboys. We have a number of places to eat in our small town, as you can see here, the Subway, Sonic, Pizza Place, and also the Joyce's Cafe, where we have the round table, and all the old men, including myself, meet every morning over coffee to discuss what's going on. And then we go home and ask our wives who's been to the beauty shop what happened. Have a real nice grocery store for the size of our town that enables us to purchase groceries there without having to drive to Walmart somewhere. This is our Senior Citizens Center, which we established with grants. One thing interesting on this, we had a $475,000 budget to do this. The lowest bid we got was $530,000. We persuaded the state to let us be our own contractor on this. We came in under budget on it. We're very proud of that. This is our City Hall. It was built in 1968. You can tell by looking at it, it needs to be replaced. An interesting point on this is the sign over the doorway there, Mansfield. It came from the old railroad depot. At one time, we had 2 railroads in Mansfield, 2 hotels, a fertilizer plant, a broom factory, a brick factory, a glass factory, but things changed, don't they? We have none of that at the present time. All we have left of that is the sign over our city hall. If we had some people with a vision to save that old depot, it would make a wonderful historical building for us. But it was given away to someone just to tear it down and get rid of it. That's why we need people like you everywhere to look forward with a vision and help us preserve some of the things such as this. This is our fire station. We've utilized grants to get an ISO of 4 for our community, which saves a lot of money for our people. We have our own water department. We have some of the best water in the world. It comes off the north side of Polo Mountain where there's nothing above it except a few squirrels probably. We have our own trash service as a small community. We think that's real good in that it provides us with some money. We have our own wastewater department. Through the efforts of our Stuttgart Economic Development Council, which involves a number of our communities around the area. 7 miles west of us, Hartford did not have a sewer system. And after 10 years of planning and meeting and talking, they were able to build a collection system and pipe the water to Mansfield. We needed a new treatment facility. Ours was 35 years old and falling apart. So with the combination of both the communities, we're able to build a modern treatment facility. Another grant enabled us to build a street from our grade school to our high school down the old railroad highway, railroad. This enabled us, the buses, to go from one school to another without getting out on the highway. We had an old city lake built in 1935. It was drained some years ago because of the condition of the dam. One of our banks made us a loan we couldn't refuse, no interest, so we rebuilt the dam. With the efforts of the Game and Fish, we have a boat launching ramp. We had another little grant for a pier, fishing pier, and also some small grants for pavilions there on the lake. Another park right behind our city hall is Constitution Park, which is one of our older parks. We have a new subdivision next to our new school, about 15 houses completed with phase 2 and fixing to be done shortly. One of our assets is natural gas. We're real proud to have natural gas in this area. It was one of the first natural gas wells drilled west of the Mississippi River, as we understand. And it has helped a lot of our people become more fluent, you might say. The more of these signs you have in the driveway, the better off you are. Each one represents a gas well. One of our projects is the Old Dixie Theater. We would like to take some ideas from some of the other communities that have redone theaters and make this a meeting place for our community. We have a lot of local talent that pick and grin, and we have one of our residents here, Becky and Robert both, that are able to play, and they have organized a fundraiser, one a month, to help us get money to redo our theater. We've also received a couple of grants, one from the Forest Service that allowed us to hire an architect to do us a complete plan for our building, another GIF for $15,000 that allowed us to stabilize the old building. We purchased it from an individual, and we're in the progress of trying to get it fixed up so we can do plays, whatever, meetings. Maybe the school can utilize it. We've had some help also on this. Our local sawmill said any kind of lumber you need, we'll provide it. Ream has promised a heating and cooling system for it. A couple, 3 years ago, when Fort Chaffee was closing down, we got 300 theater seats from a theater out there. So right now, all we need is a lot of money to do that. That is one of our main projects. We have, on the north side of Polo Mountain, a lot of four-wheeler trails. Gar, we're going to try to get some of your traffic from Bullpen Gap down there to come up our way. One of the things we need, though, is a motel. We don't have a motel in Mansfield. That is another project we'd like to work on. We like to advertise the north side of Poto Mountain there for recreation, hunting, maybe some fishing in areas, and lots of recreation. This is a picture of our gazebo early one morning with the Christmas decorations on it. We were able to build this gazebo on Main Street. It is an area where our local talent meets occasionally, where we have programs and so forth. We have a full block there where people can bring their chairs, listen to music. We can get together and make plans and enjoy things. As to our vision for the future, we see Mansfield as a place that will have quality of life, where we can enjoy it. A place to visit, a place to live and raise your family, and maybe even a place where everybody knows your name. Thank you.
Questions at the end? Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. Our next presenter with the Rich Mountain Community College in Mena, all about community of Mena, is Dr. Crystal Threlkill. She's a fifth-generation resident of Polk County, involved with the community since moving back from college in 1987. She teaches statistics, economics, and accounting, none of which I could do in college. At Rich Mountain Community College, and she's helping now to found the Rural Business Research and Entrepreneurship Center on the Rich Mountain Community College campus in Mena. Dr. Crystal Threlkill. There we are. I'll give you a 10-minute slide. No. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry to be giving you a presentation after lunch. I know that is a bad time to be trying to give you some information. I am planning, or at least trying to give you a killer presentation, but hopefully you won't be bored to death, is the idea. I'll just go ahead and start with my 146 slides. And you'll feel like you were watching, somebody's pictures of their cruise or their first grandbaby. You know how that goes. Okay. I do have to start off and tell you that I know this is about creating vibrant, sustainable, and resilient communities. But I have to tell you, we've had a number of experiences, like many of you, with tornadoes and such. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But we definitely are, I don't know about how vibrant, but we're working on that. We are definitely sustainable. We've been there a long time. We're not going anywhere, and we're definitely resilient. Okay, let me see how to use this particular clicker. Yes, we are located on the western side of Arkansas, if you're not familiar with Polk County. We are 8 miles. Mena is actually 8 miles from Oklahoma, and it doesn't take you very long to get there. That's where the folks go to get the stuff they're not supposed to get. They travel over into Oklahoma and get that beverages, I think. Okay, and so we are 80 miles in any direction to someplace bigger. So very few people can say you are truly in the middle of nowhere, but we are. Okay. No, you cannot get there from here, which is a good thing and a bad thing. We have 859 square miles, which makes it a whole 24.1 people per square mile. I don't know what we do with that 0.1, but according to statistics that I gathered from a number of different websites, we have, if you had your cost of living index as 100, we are considered low by a national average. 82.2 is our rating. Okay. Let me give you just a little bit of demographics about our town. Population, 20,662. Under 18, you can read this as well as I can, but we've got 30% of our folks are under 18. And then we have another 20% that are over 65. So 50% of our population is very young or very old. And so I don't know what everybody else is doing. You grow up, you leave, and you come back. That's how it works. Okay, we are 51% female, and the majority of folks that live there are of white race. Now, interesting thing that I threw onto here, though, was the continuous occupancy has to do with where we live. We get in a house and we stay there. So 85% of the people have been living in the same house for over a year. I guess the other folks just move continuously to make up for the rest of it. Okay. Our high school graduates, people who are 25 years old or older, that's 77.8%, and then the state average is 81%. So we're a little lax in that area. We are definitely missing the boat when it comes to bachelor's degrees. It's a beautiful place, but we don't have a whole lot of educated people there compared to the rest of the state. Median household income, you can see where we are. Again, the figures over on the right have to do with the state averages. And persons below poverty, I know a number of your areas have some of these same issues. Some of them are higher than ours. Okay, regarding just real quickly business demographics, I have to explain this slide just a little bit. Private non-farm, for 2009, said we had 505 businesses. In 2007, we had just the total businesses, which included folks who were self-employed and things. So it looks like businesses dropped off by 50%, and it didn't. We just don't have the figures for total businesses in 2009. Okay. Interesting fact to throw in here, though, is that 23% of our businesses are women-owned, which is considering some of the demographics in surrounding counties looks pretty good. Okay, our average travel time to work is 20 minutes, which if you think about living in Dallas is amazing, right? Just 20 minutes. Okay, interestingly though, in the state of Arkansas, the average is 21 minutes, so we're right in there with everyone else. Okay, and you can see we are a little behind in how much money we spend in retail. It's interesting when you look all this stuff up though, because the number one thing that we spend our money on, auto supplies for those broken down cars. Okay, so rather than tell you just a little bit about all the great stuff going on, I thought I'd tell you the bad stuff first. Okay, these are the challenges that we face, and I followed that presentation information that says don't put too much stuff on a slide because people won't read it. Okay, now, moving right along, okay. Well, the things that are wrong, I've already mentioned, location, location, location. It's a wonderful place if you can get there. But then Branson had that same issue, and Eureka Springs has that same issue. So we can't harp on that one too much. Okay, location, location, it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. Obviously, our broadband access limits what we can do in some of our business applications. Our road system, our road quality, we have, because we are such a rural population, 74% are rural. So we're driving those county roads like crazy, and then we're driving around the holes, and then we're driving through the holes there to dodge the bigger holes. So we know how that works. Okay, we have a real problem with poverty and lack of education. Big one for us is a fear of change. We had a meeting last week, and we were talking about how wonderful it would be to get I-49, and the little man in the back said, well, that'd be a wonderful thing, but don't you put that through my 5-generation farm. I said, as long as it'll go someplace else, we want it. Not in my backyard? Yeah. Okay. We don't have a lot of cultural opportunities. We do have a little theater. We do have some local artists, quite a few folks who've moved in and retired and have brought their skills with them, which is wonderful. Except we have an interesting dynamic. We don't have a golf course. We don't have a lot of cultural activities that would bring in wealthier retirees. We can't be Bella Vista. And so we end up, we have a lot of retirees who will come in, and the idea is, please don't make me spend any money. And so along with that, you also have them, when it comes time to vote for a millage, they're not too keen on that either for the public school. Okay, we do have, unfortunately, what I would consider a dead downtown on one end. It's really odd. One end has very little parking, We have some issues with us being a state highway, so it's difficult to park there. Really, we don't have a parking problem, we have a walking problem. Nobody wants to walk, so that's one of the things we need to take a look at. We have some social issues regarding perhaps drug use, domestic violence. At one time, we were the #1 per capita in divorce rates in the state of Arkansas. I'm proud of that. But interestingly, the majority of the people who live in our county are married, but they're not, many of them are not married to the original spouse. So we marry and divorce and marry and divorce, and we don't leave. Okay. We need some more folks to move in, yeah. Yeah, that would help. The gene pool, yes, okay. Oh. The next thing's isolationist, right there, okay? And we've had a number of different fragmented attempts at change. People get really excited. They're going to come and do a bunch of things, and when they meet with some less than enthusiastic counterpart, then okay. So we've stopped and started quite a few times, but now we're not stopping. We've said this is, we're just going to move forward. So now you know all the bad stuff. That's it. That's it, we don't have any more. So let's talk about what's good. First, let's start with education. Rich Mountain Community College, my employer, has been there since 1983. It was an offshoot of Henderson State University, who used to offer classes there, and the original VOTEC. And sometimes you can call some of our old timers and they'll still say, oh, that VOTEC out there drives us crazy. But they'll say, oh, that VOTEC. And say, yes, come on out to the VOTEC and please take a class out there. So we do have that facility. We also have some satellite campuses, one in Waldron, one in Mount Ida that we recently opened. Very proud of that facility. I think we spent just over $1 million on that. So definitely want some folks from Mount Ida involved. Okay. Our new high school just opened in the fall of 2011. It has a 900-seat performing arts center that we're just tickled to have that. The college doesn't have a facility like that. The community didn't have a facility like that. Everybody would like to have one, but now the high school does, and we're going to take full advantage of that. We do have all of those essential city services, fire and police and such, and water, of course, but there's, we really have excellent water quality. Our other systems, there's no major problems that we have right now, so we're crossing our fingers, okay? Other school districts in the county, we have the Ouachita River School District, which is actually joined Akron Public Schools with Odin Public Schools in Montgomery County, so we have quite a few ties. And then we are building a new high school where schools in Cove and in Wicks are being consolidated to form Cossatot River. We have a number of natural resources and parks. This is a sign where you're running up toward Talamina Scenic Drive. You can drive all the way over into Oklahoma. There are quite a few people who ride bikes up that direction, the motorized kind and the pedals. Okay, I'll talk just a little bit in a moment about the number of folks who come through there. At one time, Queen Wilhelmina State Park was the #1 visited state park. We are due for an upgrade. They are closing next month, and they'll be closed for a year. So it's been kind of interesting to see what the economic impact of that, where people can ride up there, but you can't stay there. They do have a campground, though, that will remain open. So we may see some fall off there. We have Jansen Park in downtown, and this is really a survivalist story. This used to be a really, really beautiful park. Great big giant oaks, and in 1983 it was hit by a tornado. And so a lot of those big trees were taken out, and then, so 93, and then turned around, and in 2009, got a number of the trees that were left. So we're down to much smaller trees. The ones that were actually kind of in a dip are the ones that are left, and others we've replanted. Cossatot River State Park is also in Polk County. And with that, they have this really wonderful visitor center. If you haven't been there, you need to come visit us. It's interesting, Cossatot, in the original Native American, means skull crusher. which sounds horrible, but evidently it's cool for water rafting, so come on down, that kind of thing. So this is a picture of it from the bridge. Now, this actually is a copyrighted photo, but it was really, really pretty, and so since I'm not making any money and you won't give me a donation, I can use it. But in the fall, there is nothing prettier than Polk County. I see a lot of things where you have pictures in Maine, say come to Maine, come to see the pictures, come to see the foliage, and then you see a picture like this and say, why would I go? I could just go, let's just go to Mena. Because we have the Queen Wilhelmina State Park. There's our park in downtown Mena, Jansen. There's the trusty four-wheelers, come out and take advantage of that. And then the Talamina Drive, where people take their motorcycles. And then there's our cabin that used to be surrounded by trees. So it's been there a long time. Okay, the only reason I put this picture in here for business and employment is not because it's completely frozen. It's because I just like the picture. Okay. Okay, forestry is a big deal. In Polk County, we have a number of agricultural pine farms, and I'm sure a number of you do too. We have quite a few loggers that work and drive trucks. We also have lumber mills in Hatfield. We did have one, actually where our super center sits now. Agriculture, big to do, have lots and lots of folks that work with poultry, work in cattle. Unfortunately for us, a lot of those folks in the cattle business have been selling out. The average farm size in Polk County is 173 acres. The average value of the product sold, though, is $96,569 in a year. So we're doing pretty well with that. Okay. The average farmer, though, is 55 years old on a family farm. Okay, and 99.48% of that is livestock or poultry. So it is a big deal in our county. The airport is also important to us. It employs, they have about 12 to 13, depending on who you talk to, businesses out there, and they employ roughly 200 people in all aspects of aviation, from the avionics part to painting and refurbishing, and any number. If you want it done to a plane, we can do it in Polk County. Okay, we do have a Tyson plant down south. And then we have these next three slides deal with machining parts and building motors. This is our largest employer, Nidec. Used to be U.S. Electrical Motors until it was bought by a Japanese firm. And so now we have some different management over there. The community college is scared to death. At one point we're going to have to, this plant is going to leave. And then what will we be doing? Except the only thing that keeps U.S. Motors where it is Nidec now, but what keeps them there is that they build custom motors, custom design, custom built. So that's not something that can be readily manufactured in Mexico. So we keeping our fingers crossed that it stays that way. Okay, community resources. I already mentioned the airport. But tourism is a big deal, and I've already talked about why. It is such a pretty place. We like to have a lot. Please come, stay a while, leave your money. If you want to come back, we'll take you as a retiree. We have a number of civic organizations: Lions, Rotary, 4-H. It's very, very involved. Cooperative Extension. We have a number. We have Lioness as well. We have lots and lots of volunteers. We have fire volunteers. We have fair volunteers. And if you offer food for anything, everybody shows up. So we like that. Okay, we do have also festivals and gatherings. This is actually, I think, a picture of, I couldn't tell. It's either the rod run or motorcycles. But it was so crowded in there, I really couldn't tell from the picture. We do get a number of folks who come for the rod run. We do have the Lum and Abner Festival. So our street fills up. We block the street off, get a lot of folks coming in for that. We like that. And then CMA, the Christian Motorcyclists Association. Has anybody heard of that group? Anybody remember that group? 2? Okay. Well, they have their fall changing of the colors, and so they come and inundate our town, fill it up with motorcycles. It's the Christian version of going to Sturgis. Just come on down. Yeah, it's the Christian Sturgis. So they ride through, and they are usually very, very well behaved. We don't have anybody get arrested, so I don't think that happens at Sturgis, though. Okay, we have a very strong commitment from our government, and the interesting thing about this is that we have government. Everybody has that, but we have government that works. Well, we found that out when we were hit by the tornado. This was the aerial shot, just one of them, of the big tornado that just swathed through our town. And for us, you know, we had a rural tornado. We had a downtown tornado. We had a residential tornado, and it just smacked everything down. And so it was kind of interesting to see how well everybody worked together and how it really did come together. And some people who perhaps had been in different camps prior to that, the walls really did come down. And fortunately for us, it's maybe the perfect time to be doing what we're doing because they haven't come back up yet. Okay, so we do have government that works. We have a number of health organizations that work in our favor. This is actually a community project. This is Healthy Connections that was started with grant funds from a gentleman who decided to recognize the need and went to work and made it happen. So I'm kind of proud of that. And they've actually started expansion services as well. They've branched out. We had a renovation of our hospital. We are the only game in town, you know, it's 80 miles someplace else. So if you get injured while you're out four-wheeling, the helicopter can have to come and get you. Yeah, you know, the thing is, if you're injured, you don't really, you know, this is one of those things, we don't want to wake up with a kid in the middle of the night saying it's 80 miles someplace else. So by the same token, we have a great opportunity. We've got a 45-mile service area that what services can we offer that would keep you from going to Hot Springs or Texarkana or to Fort Smith. Oh yeah, okay, I had to throw this in here. Yes, it's lovely, yes. This is Mena Police. This is actually the photo on the left is during the tornado, right after that. And the photo on the right is where we're exporting someone to Sevier County. You can see that from, and that was actually in the files that that were given to me from the editor of the Mena Star. And I said, well, we're getting rid of this guy. I don't know if you put your foot up, they don't take your picture, I guess. Okay. Things that really work in our favor, we do have a commitment. We have a commitment to maintaining our town and trying to get people involved. And so through the Chamber of Commerce, now the Arkansas, the region, I get it right here, Arkansas Regional Coalition of the Washitas, okay, yeah. And so we're trying to work regionally as well, but we have made that commitment. We have had such a disjointed, as I mentioned before, kind of a stop and go. And if you just Google Mena, Arkansas, you'll get 5 different websites that say, come to Mena, and here's some information about Mena. And if you're looking at that, say, well, which way am I supposed to go here? So we're working on that, so that we can kind of straighten up our presentation and get everybody on the same page, but we are committed to doing that. Okay, we do have airport facilities. We have a runway large enough to land a 747. Mentioned the airport before and the number of people working out there. We have a very diverse faith-based activism. We found that out during the tornado. You would not believe the role that churches took in this disaster. They formed a committee and really and it wasn't just one church. It was a bunch of churches. And the amazing part about that, it was interfaith. We didn't have any controversy about that at all. And it's kind of interesting too, some information just about our faith-based community. The total number of congregations, we've got 65. that sound familiar? Because there's a whole bunch of different ones, right? And of our population, roughly 59% attend services regularly. So it's a very active community. And if you think about that, it's 12,000 people that go to church all the time. So if you're not involving the church, we're in trouble. It's not going to go anywhere. This is a gratuitous photo of my boss. Okay. And actually, and the last part about this, really, and I make light of that, but we do have new leadership at the institution. And so it's helping drive some of this forward, so I do appreciate that. Because our number one asset, honestly, in our community is the people. We just had this store reopen this last week. It was a store that had a burglary. And after they burgled the place, they decided to burn it down. So our only grocery store in Mena was put out of commission. And so we became victims of Walmart. I won't say victims, but that was our only option. And so we were delighted to see this store reopen. And so we have a number, the mayor is there in the center. We have a number of people who were involved in the Chamber of Commerce. We have people in this photo who are on the city council. It's just a really wide mix of the folks involved. And because our number one asset is our people. So come see us. We'll be good to you, I promise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Crystal. Our next speaker is Stephen Bell. Stephen is going to talk about Stuttgart, Arkansas. He's the Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, he is the Executive Vice President for the Chamber of Commerce in Stuttgart. He has been in the press business in the past, working in Jonesboro and for the Stuttgart newspaper. And he is proud to say that Stuttgart, to remind some of us, is the home of, in looking at the handwriting here, I know this, but in reading the handwriting, it said World's Championship Dude Calling Contest. And so that's the World Championship Duck Calling Contest in Stuttgart, Arkansas. So to talk about Stuttgart, Stephen Bell.
You wouldn't think we knew each other all these years from that introduction. I appreciate it. Do y'all want to take a break and stand up for a second and kind of, I know when everybody has to sit for a long time, because I want you to really pay attention to what I say. Should we stretch or? All right. Y'all ready? All right, I'm going to talk about Stuttgart, Arkansas. We're known as the rice and duck capital of the world. And if you're kind of cool and you're into hip-hop culture, we're also known as Sugar Town. If you take out the T's in Stuttgart, it spells out the word sugar. So we're known as the rice and duck capital, and we're also Sugar Town. I'm going to try my first slide. And we're located in southeast Arkansas. We're in Arkansas County. It's actually the largest county in the state of Arkansas by land mass. And Stuttgart is in the upper left corner of the map in the county. We actually have two county seats. We have one in Stuttgart and one in DeWitt. And the story is you had to have a county courthouse, a day's horse ride distance. So I guess you can't ride a horse within a day from Stuttgart to DeWitt, but we have two courthouses. We're the only county that has that other than Craighead County. And I guess if you're going to tell a story, you need to start from the beginning. And we've always been a town that always had good growth, never really had anything bad happen. But we kind of went through a period where we were just sort of not doing much anything. We always used to say, we never tore down a building in Stuttgart, we just wait for it to fall down. Well, we had a tornado that hit in 2008, and that's a picture of downtown. And it went really through the commercial section of the community. And it's a little bit like she was saying in Mena, it really pulled the town together for the first time. There's nothing like a good crisis to pull everybody together. Well, at that time, we'd also seen a little bit decline in our population in the 2000 census. And then the tornado was really impetus to really get moving to try to do something about the community. So these four organizations started working together. The first one, of course, is the Stuttgart Chamber of Commerce. Stuttgart Industrial Development Corporation is made up of the utilities, the banks, and some of the business leaders. It's the organization that owns our industrial park. The third group there is called Stuttgart Unlimited, and we modeled this after something they had done in Jonesboro. What that group is the top 10 executives in Stuttgart. They each contributed $10,000 into a fund, an unbudgeted economic development fund, which raised $100,000 the first year. And what it was an opportunity. You had people on the board of the chamber who weren't really the CEOs. Maybe you had a bank vice president. You had the same thing with the SIDC. What the Stuttgart Unlimited requirement is we wanted the CEO, the top person of that company, to come to that meeting. And it was interesting, our three big industries are rice and producers and Lennox. A lot of times they never had spoken to each other. They had a lot of the same needs and concerns, particularly when it came to workforce, but they really weren't coordinating their efforts. So that was sort of the purpose behind Stuttgart Unlimited. It still exists to this day. We formed it in 2001. And of course, the other one was the city of Stuttgart. And it's important to have your city involved because actually they're the organization that can really make things happen. They collect the taxes and they spend the tax dollars. So we had a new mayor elected in 2002 who was a very progressive mayor, and she's really been great. So one of the big things we did is get all four of these groups working together. And of course, in Stuttgart, our two big industries are Rice and Foods and Producers Rice Mill. Rice and Foods has sales of over $1 billion a year, and Producers Rice Mill has sales of over $600 million a year. They're both located there in Stuttgart. And they ship to countries all over the world. My dad actually used to run Rice and Foods, and when I was a teenager back in the 70s, he came up with a slogan that was called homegrown and world known. And I said, I don't know, Dad, I don't know if that really means what you think it does, but we do sell all over the world. And there's a picture of Producers Rice Mill. Our other big industry is Lennox Industries. They make commercial air conditioning units, and who they make them for is Walmart. So anytime there's a Walmart store build, the air conditioning units produced there in Stuttgart. They also do the air conditioning units for Target. So it took a lot of negotiation to actually have Lennox make the air conditioning units for the two competitors. And there's a picture of the plant. It's over 1 million square feet. It has a different dimension to our economy. We don't see the ups and downs of the agricultural economy like we used to. It's evened out with Lennox Industries. This is their new product, Emergence. One of the things that Walmart required them to do was go green. The engineers there in Stuttgart developed a more green air conditioning unit. Then we also have taken our agriculture base, which is one of our assets, and what we do is we leveraged it by attracting research facilities. This is in Dale Bumper's National Rice Research Center. And at this facility, it's a federal facility, they do genetic research on rice. And so they map the entire genome of rice. And just like any other genetic research, you can do different things with the genes. One of the things they created when they first mapped the genome was to put an iron into the rice. And it created kind of a golden color, so they called it golden rice. One of the biggest leading causes of blindness in the world is a lack of iron in your diet. So they're going to use that to go to the poorer countries and put the rice is the #1 food staple throughout the world. Everybody uses rice as a staple of their food. If you can put that into their food supply and provide that lack of iron, you can eliminate a lot of the blindness that occurs in the world. Our other research facility is the University of Arkansas Rice Research and Extension Center. It's actually been there over 100 years. What they do at this facility is they develop the different rice varieties that they produce each year. So they do research on everything by mixing, like they did in the 1800s with Mendel, mixing the different varieties. This is before we had, genetic research, to come up with varieties that are resistant to disease, weeds, that can grow in different kind of weather. One of the things is weather would knock down the rice stalks. They developed a dwarf variety, which doesn't grow as high but still produces the same amount of yields. And then we also have the Stuttgart National Aquaculture Center. What they do is research here on the catfish industry and also the bait fish industry. So here's some of the scientists that live and work there in Stuttgart doing agriculture research. And there you can actually see them doing a little bit of the genetic research at the Dale Mumpers National Rice Research Center. And there they are at the fish farm. So what we've done, we've taken the agriculture that already exists there and leveraged it to get research and high-paying research jobs into the community. Another asset we have down there is the flooded timber. I guess we're kind of like, if you've seen that TV show, The Swamp People, where they make money out of the swamp. We make money out of our swamp. We're fortunate in the fact that the state of Arkansas set aside thousands of acres of land in the Biomeda Wildlife Management Area, and the federal government did too in the White River Wildlife Management Area. And of course what that's done is it's attracted duck hunting. The reason people come to Arkansas to go duck hunting is to hunt ducks in the flooded timber. Normally when you go hunting ducks in other parts of the country, they'll hunt them out on lakes and hunt them out on fields. But when you come to Stuttgart and you come to Arkansas, you can hunt ducks in the woods, and they see the ducks come through the woods. They start flapping their wings. It sounds like a helicopter. They go crazy. They've never seen anything like that. So that's the reason we're able to attract people from all over the world to come to hunt in Stuttgart. You can't do that anywhere else. And then we've leveraged that by encouraging commercial duck camps. This is actually Crosshairs Retreat Center. This is a duck camp owned by Matt Moser, who you see on Channel 4. It's also a Christian retreat center. But we have over 70 commercial duck camps that operate in our area. We have 40 of them that advertise on our website through the Stuttgart Chamber of Commerce. This is a kind of a view of an inside of one of the duck camps. Matt actually has 2 chefs that are on staff. Some of the duck clubs offer year-round operation. Some of the food. In addition to that, of course, you know, when people go out duck hunting, they have to buy all the stuff. So we had a sporting goods store there called Max Prairie Wings. They've been there for a long time. What they did is they developed a mail-order catalog, and they kind of sketched it out the first year on a plane ride on a napkin. And they said, we could probably do a catalog like Herders or Cabela's or something like that. And I think the first year they lost like $20,000. And they said, well, I don't know, let's give it another try one more time. And then they lost $10,000. And they said, well, at least we're going in the right direction. And then it just finally took off, and particularly with their website. They have a circulation of 2.5 million with their catalog now. This is the only store of its kind. You can find a Bass Pro anywhere, but you can only find a Max Prairie Wings in Stuttgart. Over 50% of their sales actually come off their website. So actually their overhead, when you look at a Bass Pro, they have to pay all those employees, cover all that overhead in all those different stores. He's only got one store, but he does most of his sales off of the internet. And of course the reason people buy stuff at Max is because we're known as the rice and duck capital of the world. They want to get something from the duck capital. So we branded the community as the duck capital. He took that branding and branded his business that way. So people will drive all the way to Stuttgart to come and shop at Max. How did we get to be the duck capital of the world? Well, in 1936, I had some guys that lived there and said, hey, we ought to have a duck calling contest. Who's the best duck caller? So they formed the World's Championship Duck Calling Contest. And now you get that big trophy. In the very beginning, they just had about 15 guys get together. The first guy that won the duck calling contest didn't even use a duck call. He just used his throat. And he got they ran across to a clothing store there in town. It was $6.60 hunting coat, and he won that. Now they get a $15,000 prize package. They get $8,000 cash. They get that trophy. They get a championship ring, just like you do at the Super Bowl. You get a Warrigo boat. And so they actually come from 39 different states in Canada. You have to win a preliminary contest, which a lot of people don't realize, to even come to Stuttgart, Arkansas, of a town of 9,300, to compete in the World Championship Duck Calling Contest. So we have sanctioned contests which we operate starting in January, going all the way up until the end of October. So we have 70 of those contests for 39 states and Canada. That promotes our community. Every time we have a contest, you're going to buy a ticket. You get a ticket to come to Stuttgart. And then right there is Queen Mallard. You have to be a local person to win Queen Mallard, but we always say a lot of the dads would rather their daughter be Queen Mallard than their son be the World Championship duck caller. So it's a pretty big deal too. And that's our champion this year. And of course we have Mallard Duck, that's our mascot. And all our activities involve everything from kids all the way up to the competitors. And then we have, of course, commercial vendors that we do. This is sort of our tourism season. People think of tourism season and think of warm, sunny weather. We think of cold, rainy weather. That's what we love because that makes good duck hunting. And of course, went a little too fast. Going the wrong way. Oh, now I'm going. Sorry, wrong button. It's a little preview. Of course, and then one of the big events there at the Wings Over the Prairie Festival, we have 30,000 people come to that, is the Duck Gumbo Cook-Off. So we charge $20 to get in the tent. It's kind of like Mardi Gras for rednecks. There's 4,000 people just to go to the Duck Gumbo. And we have a waiting list of 5 years just to get a team in there. But that's a picture of the crowd that shows up. And then we leverage that. We received the Festival of the Year last year from the Arkansas Festival and Events Association. And then we take all that history and we package it together in the Museum of the Arkansas Grand Prairie. And if you've ever come to Stuttgart, we always tell people go to the museum and they go, yeah, a little bitty museum in your town. It is not. It's one of the nice and largest museums you'll come across. It celebrates the German heritage. Inside you'll see sort of a replica of what the downtown used to look like. Of course, we have a waterfowl wing. It tells a little bit about the history of waterfowl hunting in Stuttgart. They have buildings that are on the grounds. There's a original schoolhouse. Community was founded by Reverend Adam Burkle from Germany. His hometown was Stuttgart, Germany, and that's how we got our name. He came over from Germany with 7 families. A lot of them are still there. Some people in Stuttgart say if you weren't part of the original 7 families, you really aren't a Stuttgart resident. And another big asset is downtown. We have a very vibrant downtown. I like to take credit for all that, but to be honest, the reason our downtown has been has done so well is we have an extra wide street downtown, so there's plenty of parking. And the story behind that is when they built Main Street downtown, they made it wide enough that if you were on a wagon, a horse-drawn wagon, that they could do a U-turn in the road. And that's how they determined how wide the street was downtown. So here are some of the buildings. So how did we get that nice? Well, we had a program that started last year called Let's Paint Stuttgart, and it actually grew out of a Breakthrough Solutions seminar here. And what it is, there was someone from Fulton, Kentucky, and in that town, they had painted a lot of their buildings downtown and got volunteers to do it. So we kind of replicated that, and this is to give you an idea. Here's the before and the after, and the before and the after. And of course, it really brought back downtown. It had always been pretty vibrant, but it really put it on the map. We also took our Stuttgart Municipal Airport. We can land the 747 out there. This is some of the planes you'll see out there during duck season. You'll see some Learjets like that out there. We partnered with the Little Rock Air Force Base, and they do training out there. And of course, we've been able to attract famous duck hunters too. That's Dick Cheney's Air Force 2. He comes down there and duck hunts. Of course, he's not on that plane anymore. And then we've been able to take that and attract a aerospace company called Cavu Aerospace. And what they do is they are a salvage company. They take the aircraft from Southwest Airlines and they tear them apart and sell the parts. And then also our big success this time is we have a new overpass over a railroad. We were the largest town in Arkansas that did not have an overpass. We just call that the bridge because we're pretty proud of it. But we got that taken care of this year, named after our local senator and Congressman Marion Barry. And then our other big thing we did this year is partner with the community college, Phillips Community College at the University of Arkansas. This is the Grand Prairie Center. It's a 63,000 square foot building. We didn't really have a civic center in our community. So how did we do that? Our community college actually is supported partly by a half-cent county sales tax. And I think we're the only community college in the state that does that. What that did is it allows us to sell bonds to build the building. And because we're part of the University of Arkansas system, once the building is built, then the University of Arkansas takes over and they maintain it and cover those costs. Of course, we had to get approval from the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees to get approval to build the building, but we paid for the building with our own county sales tax money. The other thing we did, we've been able to take our fact that we're in a hunting area in the river area and work with the Arkansas Department of Economic Development and the Arkansas Film Office and attract a major motion film to Stuttgart. We had Reese Witherspoon and Matthew McConaughey come in. This is Matthew on the set there of the movie Mud, which is coming out later this year. They actually set up in Stuttgart in an old elementary school where their production office was. Most of the filming was actually done down along the White River, but their production company was there in Stuttgart. And then some of the local people got to meet some of the movie stars. There's Matthew with some of the ladies there in Stuttgart. Of course, I just have to mention that Miss Arkansas is also from Stuttgart. And the other thing we did is we took all the things we've been doing and we put it in a magazine. This is a 150-page magazine called the Stuttgart Profile. And in there you see we got some cheerleaders, because everybody loves cheerleaders, the Grand Prairie Center, and the honey. And then we also have a different cover. It's the same magazine with a different cover during duck season. We call it the Sportsman's Guide. And then future things we'd like to do, or diamonds in the rough, is we have that Ryson Hotel. We redid this sign and relit it. It's a neon sign, but the hotel is empty. But this is kind of what it looks like. It's still boarded up and it's downtown. We did everything with Let's Paint Stuttgart. So our next big challenge is going to be try to attract somebody to come in and do something different with the hotel. And I just want to remind you, if you want to know more about Stuttgart, look for us on Facebook at Stuttgart Chamber of Commerce. And like us and follow us, and you can see all the neat things that are happening in Stuttgart. All right, thank you.
Marion, Crystal, Stephen, come back. Come on down. So now for your questions of Mena, Mansfield, Stuttgart.
I got another one from Mansfield. Somehow, I guess I missed it. Where do people work? What kinds of places are available, or do they work in Fort Smith and live in Mansfield, or what?
The question is, where do people work?
From Mansfield. Yes, we are kind of a bedroom community to Fort Smith. However, we have the sawmill there that works between 300 and 400 people in the mill and transportation, in the business and so forth. Of course, our school has over 100 employees. We have 3 banks and the commercial areas that we have.
I have a question also to Marion. Sebascot. Is that your own word? Sebascot?
Sebascot is the Sebascot Economic Development Council. And as I mentioned earlier, it was formed in 1993 because of a controversy over the location of the prison camp. Well, the correctional facility, I should say, for the children. This was several communities came together to try to resolve the problems that some people were having about those little fellas running around out there without a fence around them. However, through the communities meeting together and talking things out, some things were done to comfort them, to alleviate their concerns, Also, a bunch of them got city water out of this deal because we had to put a pipeline out to that facility. It has continued on. Even now, we have monthly meetings most of the time with people coming from the surrounding communities to discuss ways we might improve our communities. Early on, we decided what helped one of our communities would usually help them all. So through this organization, we were able to get our new water treatment facility, got a sewer. The little community of Midland is getting ready to tie on, and even Huntington is talking about tying on to our wastewater treatment facility, which gives 4 communities with 1 operator.
If it's Sebastian in Scott County, is that how the name came about?
Yes, South Sebastian and Scott County.
Yeah, by the way, we had a regional coalition meeting there, and we were in their city hall, and I said, where's the restroom? And he said, it's in Sebastian County. It goes right down the middle. The county line goes right down the middle of the building.
Okay.
The mayor's office is in Sebastian County. My office is in Scott County, just across the hall.
Mr. Mathis, who are you mentoring to take over for you? Because you seem to be the catalyst of everything that's going on.
You're looking at how old I am now, aren't you? That's the question
Hey,
like
I'm
that.
not far behind you.
This couple right over here will be doing a lot of the things that I'm doing, hopefully, in the coming years. I'm getting on in the later part of my tenure, I suppose. Hopefully.
I have one question for all 3 of you that I think might be helpful in the coming session, and I didn't really hear precisely the answer to this. If you could look at your community 10 years from now, what do you want it to look like? I mean, do you have a particular vision? Is there a particular vision in your community of what it should be, of what you want it to be?
Well, we still envision ourselves as a bedroom unit in Fort Smith. We know we can't get a manufacturing facility or anything with lots of jobs. What we're trying to do is maintain the services there, make our streets. That's one of the things we need, blacktop on our streets. We do a good job with the volunteer fire department as the ISO 4, as I mentioned. We have an adequate police force. However, our chief just had a stroke, so we're looking for a good policeman. Just a good place to live. We're safe. The living conditions were laid back, and just a wonderful place to raise your family. We have good schools, we have good water, good facilities, and we're looking for I-49 to come through. It'll be about a quarter mile from our high school, and of course, we envision our town growing out to I-49. Several years ago, we looked forward to that. We annexed all the property out to where the interchange is going to be, so we'll have some say on what goes on there.
We'll be dead before I-49 gets to where we are. And simply because they're talking about it's coming up from Louisiana and it's coming down, but the absolute worst part of that is right in Polk County. So it will be rough. So 10 years from now, still won't be there. I don't know that we'll be dead, but I see from talking to the committee, we would really like to revitalize the other half of our downtown. We would like to expand small business because we recognize that the big box is gone. And so we really want to take care of the people who are already there, see if we can get them to expand and then bring in businesses similar to that that would help the tourists. Come see us, yeah.
I guess what we kind of envision is have some growth, but managed growth. So we're a town of 9,300. We used to be a town of about 10,700. So we would like to get up to 12,000, and then once we get to 12,000, we're going to cut it off. You won't be able to get in. Then we're going to start taking applications. So we would like to have a little bit of growth. We like being a small town. We'd like to see some growth, and then still be in the management. We don't want to be a boom town. We just want to have some sustainable growth.
Let's give all 3 of them another round of applause.